Some unexpected stuff going on in some U.S. Senate races right now. I mean, first of all, just the fact that incumbent Republicans in both Florida and Texas, these safe red states, are facing actual honest-to-goodness fights to keep their seats. Ted Cruz in Texas and Rick Scott in Florida. Rick Scott in Florida is buying another $10 million of TV ads for the final weeks of the race, shelling out his own money. Then there's Pennsylvania, where the Republican Senate candidate this weekend decided to campaign outside a cheesesteak shop in North Philly. That event ended with the manager of the cheesesteak shop saying that Republican Dave McCormick is, quote, not welcome back. You're not welcome back. Then Dave McCormick crossed the street to a local Baptist church where the pastor there asked McCormick and his entourage to leave because he didn't, among other things, want photos of his church's members to be used by McCormick's campaign. The pastor said, quote, you can Photoshop. You can make things seem like they aren't. Maybe they're going to post we're eating dogs or cats like in Ohio. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I don't trust these people. So that went great for the Republican Senate candidate in Pennsylvania. Then there's Montana, where the Republican Senate candidate there is on tape repeatedly making really over-the-top, flagrantly racist, derogatory remarks about Montana's Native Americans, in a state where Native Americans make up fully 6% of the population. Republican candidate Tim Sheehy first tried to claim that the recordings had somehow been deceptively edited before he was forced to admit that they are real and not at all deceptively edited. He still refused to apologize for them, though. There's also the kind of unbelievable ongoing lack of a resolution over that same Republican candidate, Tim Sheehy, saying a bullet in his arm was from him shooting himself accidentally when he dropped a gun in a national park. But then he said the same gunshot wound was actually from him serving in Afghanistan. It can't be both. He's refused to release any information that would clarify either way, even as the disputed gunshot wound has been a huge part of his campaign, which just seems completely untenable as we get closer to Election Day. But yet here we are. And oh, wait, there's more. If you were retiring from someplace cold like Michigan, you could do worse than this $1.6 million estate in Cape Coral, Florida. You can see it has beautiful views. It has a very nice pool. This home, it's called an estate in its real estate listings. It was purchased just 2 years ago in the summer of 2022. It was purchased by Michigan Republican Congressman Mike Rogers. He served 7 terms in Congress. He spent 6 years in the Michigan State Senate before that, all before he decided to pitch it all in and retire to Florida to live in his dream house. I mean, between D.C. and Michigan, I guess, I don't know if you can blame him for wanting a taste of exceptional waterfront living in a much warmer location. The problem is, just 6 months after Mike Rogers bought his new dream home in Florida, an even more prime piece of real estate opened up. Michigan Democratic U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow announced that she was retiring from the U.S. Senate. And this new Florida resident, Mike Rogers, he really wanted to run for that Michigan U.S. Senate seat. But unfortunately, that would mean he'd have to move back to Michigan. Well, Mike Rogers decided he would buy this lovely little house in White Lake Township, Michigan. He bought it, then immediately knocked it down. This photo was taken by local reporter John King of the Michigan Advance on April 30th. It shows an empty plot of land where the house Mike Rogers bought used to be. This picture, I think, redefines exceptional waterfront living. 2 months after this picture was taken, Mike Rogers registered to vote using that property as his home address. Then 1 month after that, he voted for himself in the Republican primary for that U.S. Senate seat using that address as his voter registration location. Now, all this is turning out to be a problem for U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers. According to the Detroit Free Press, the house that Mike Rogers is still building on that spot isn't done. It, quote, did not, at the time he voted, and does not now, have a certificate of occupancy, which means Mike Rogers could not legally live there. Quote, and if he didn't live there, he may have broken the law by using that address to vote. Joining me now is ML Elric. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter, currently a columnist for the Detroit Free Press. He broke this story in his column this week. He's also the host of ML's Soul of Detroit podcast. Mr. Elric, thanks very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Rachel.
Did I misunderstand any of that, or did I pretty much get it the right way around?
No, I think the only misunderstanding, and the Rogers campaign won't help us out with it, is where does Mike Rogers actually lay his head? You know, Michigan's residency laws are very loose. We're set up so that if you leave temporarily, if you go to college, if you become a veteran, or you're serving overseas, you can vote at your old address. The problem for Mike Rogers is we have no indication that he's ever actually lived at this address. And while they say you can't go home again, if you're never there in the first place, is it really your home?
He previously had said that he was registered at his brother's home in Michigan. And as I understand it from your reporting, you sort of spent some time hanging out around his brother's home, asking neighbors, asking people who lived in the area if they had ever seen him. It seems like, from your reporting at least, that his registration at his brother's home may also have been a bit of a ruse.
Yeah, I think anybody who's running for office, particularly in such a close race like this, doesn't spend a lot of nights at home. We're a big state. We have 83 counties, and you want to get to all of them. But you would think a former congressman who's living in your neighborhood will at least come by and say hi and say, can I get your vote? The fact that his neighbors have not seen him is pretty surprising to me. But the campaign assures us that at some point he really did stay there, which just means that he and his brother get along a lot better than me and my brother.
Both them and their spouses in a house with 1.5 bathrooms. Yeah. Let me ask you about one point. I'm just going to read to you from your column on this matter. There's still the question of whether Rogers committed a misdemeanor by using a home he could not occupy to register to vote, whether he committed a felony by voting in the August 6th primary, and whether he can even legally vote for himself in the November 5th election, right? You can't legally reside somewhere where there's no certificate of occupancy. If you don't legally reside somewhere, hard to say that you can register to vote there. Are Democrats, his political opponents, good government groups, watchdogs, anybody pursuing this as a legal matter involving Mr. Rogers and potentially his ability to even vote for himself, the question of whether or not he might have broken the law by doing so in the past?
Yeah, we just broke this story on Sunday, so I think the fallout is still kind of cascading through the Michigan political landscape. But frankly, given how Republicans are so worried about voter fraud and people voting illegally, if anybody's going to raise a red flag on this, I would think it'd be the Republican Party. But then again, he is the Republican candidate. So maybe some other folks are going to say something. And unless he moves into that place before November 5th, there's always the chance that when he goes to vote, somebody's going to say, excuse me, I'm challenging this gentleman's right to cast a ballot, presumably for himself.
Wow. ML Elric, columnist for the Detroit Free Press. Thank you for helping us understand the story. I appreciate your time.